Hey, how's everybody doing today? Figured I'd chit chat with you for a little bit. You know, the world's going to come to an end in 9 years, according to Joe Biden and his scientists. Just for the record, I've been hearing that ever since I was in elementary school. World's going to come to an end. In 10 years, we're going to run out of fresh water. In 10 years, the CO2 emissions are going to be so bad that the world's going to burn up. In 10 years, in 15 years. In Y2K, all the computers are going to go kaplunk and planes are going to start flying out of the sky. Scientists say this and this is going to happen. Yeah, well, we're still here. You know, and I guess that's one of the most important proofs. We're still here. Nobody can tell what's underground. Nobody can tell how much coal's down there, how much oil's down there. They can speculate. But even they can't definitively say, go right here and dig a hole and you're going to strike oil. Ain't going to happen. Not right now. So, old Joe Biden said we got 9 years. So he's going to fix it. So what he's going to do is he wants to put electrical charging stations everywhere there's gas stations so that everybody can transfer over to electrical cars. Yay! We're going to get rid of all the CO2 emissions from vehicles. But we're going to massively overload our power grid. We're going to need a lot more electricity. Now, we got multiple ways of doing that. We can go old school with gas and oil, natural gas, which is actually a very clean product if you look into it. We can do sawdust. Yeah, we can use sawdust to make electricity. Hey, check it out. We got nuclear. But nuclear is still a little scary. You know, meltdowns do happen. So they're wanting to go for these new things. They're wanting to go for solar, and they're wanting to go for wind power. Now, that's cool. But let's just take wind power, okay? And that's all we're going to deal with is wind power right now. Currently in the United States of America, there is 54,000 windmills. It's a lot of windmills. If you ever driven across western Texas and look, man, those wind farms just go on forever and ever. Windmills everywhere. And through the years, I've started to notice when I drive through that less and less of them are turning. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But we have 54,000 windmills. Now, it takes approximately, depending on the size of the windmill, you know, I did a little bit of averaging, about 2 acres per windmill of land. That's 2 acres of land. That don't sound like much, but we've got 54,000 at 2 acres of land. That's 108,000 acres of land to only supply 7% of our current electrical needs. Now, we want to switch over to these, and we want to use them. And, okay. But when we do that, we're going to have to use a lot more land. And when we start using a lot more land, we start messing with animals' homes, burrows, and nests, and all of these trees and everything. We start really causing a problem because we're going to set a new unbalance off. It ain't going to be a CO2 unbalance. It's going to be an animal unbalance. We're going to start to kill off animals, causing mass extinction with these animals because they don't have homes. They don't have places. They don't have to know where to migrate to go to. So here we have a new problem that's deriving from all these windmills we're going to put up. Now, I hear you. We can put them on the coast, and the coast sounds like a really cool place to put windmills. Really like the idea. Except for the fact that when you get on the coast, you start running into coral reefs. Now, we've already proven that these are very fragile ecosystems. It takes very little to destroy a coral reef. Gone. Once it's gone, you don't get it to come back. It is a fight. They like spawn like once a year. One night out of a whole year, they spawn. Gone, they're gone. Can't bring them back. Now, you're going to put these out there, and you're going to start messing with the fish. You're going to start messing with their systems because you have wires underneath the ground, and those wires underneath the ground, well, believe it or not, they create a magnetic field, and that magnetic field is going to come up into the ocean, and it's going to start to mess with fish. They're not going to be able to figure their way home. They're not going to be able to figure out where their nesting is. They're going to get lost. They're going to have problems that we don't even know about yet. So, are we doing any good? Are we doing any good by going out and putting all these windmills out? I don't think so. Not at the amount that we're going to need. Do I think a wind turbine is a really good thing? Yeah, I do. I just don't believe that we have the technology yet to actually use them at their utmost proficiency in order to achieve what we want to achieve. See, in Japan right now, they're working on a magnet, and then it takes a magnet to produce electricity. A stronger magnet means you're going to get more effect on the electrons in the copper, and you're going to create a higher voltage, and you're going to be able to get more electricity out of it. But we haven't got that point yet. We don't have that magnet that we need. We're working on it. We're doing the research. But that's what it takes. Now, there's also other aspects. You know, when you have friction, and when you have a shaft turning inside of ball bearings, you have friction, you have resistance. And that resistance is loss of energy. We're currently working on a new lubricant that causes almost zero friction, so that you get 100% efficiency. But we don't have that yet. It isn't on the market. It isn't something that's produced, but we're working on it. Now, we're also working on an object called a superconductor. See, electricity, when it has electrons flowing through it, depending on the size of the wire, it starts to heat up once it gets so much traveling through it, and it burns in two. With a superconductor, there's no production of heat, so a small micro wire can carry lots and lots of voltage through it. It means you can get more coils, means you can get more voltage, means you can get more out of a generator when it's turning. But we haven't got there yet. We're still working on it. It's still a technology that needs to be improved. But these things haven't happened. When they do happen, then that means that one generator can supply a whole city instead of one generator, wind turbine, supplying a small neighborhood. That's the point. We're just not there yet, and we're going to destroy a lot of land. Now, if you want to use a windmill, I suggest that as each individual has their own home, that you go out and you get one of these 400, 800, 1,000 watt wind turbines that you can put in your backyard. Start lowering those emissions from your own house. Add some solar panels to your house. These will start to decrease the amount of electricity. You can charge your own car, and you don't need to go somewhere. You don't need it off the power grid. Let the individual take care of it. They're just an option that I'm going to throw out to you. But as it stands right now, windmills are not that proficient. You know, 2 years after a windmill's put up, there's so many particles in the air that's blowing across those blades. They start to tear those blades up. And by the time you reach that 2-year point, that windmill has lost 25% of its efficiency. So that means for every 2, you need a third one just to get what you were already producing. Or you need to replace those blades. That's going to be expensive. $54,000. Typical windmill has, what, 3, 4 blades on it? So you're talking anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 blades that need to be replaced every 3, 4, 5 years. Now, I get it. We can produce those and we can make jobs. But will we? Because he also wants to get rid of coal. He also wants to get rid of gas that we produce here in America, so we can lower our CO2 emissions. So what we're going to do is we're going to get that from China. We're going to get those products from China. Now, remember that China has double the CO2 emissions of just about anybody. They're producing more CO2 than anybody else in the world. So is it okay to go to another country to get those products from a country that is doubling our production of CO2? Because it doesn't matter whether it's happening here in the United States. It's happening globally. So are we helping the globe by sending it to a country that's producing way more CO2? It's an interesting concept. And we can't change over immediately, so they're going to take those jobs away. They're going to take the gas away. They're going to take the coal away. So when they take those away immediately, when Sleepy Joe goes into office, well, we still have to produce that electricity. We can't shut it down. We can't tell the country, oh, stay home for 2 years or 3 years until we get all these windmills built, and then you can go back to work. Can't do that. So we're going to have to buy that coal. We're going to have to buy that oil. Where are we going to buy it from? We're going to buy it from China. An already proven massive CO2 producer. We're going to get it from them. Or we're going to go to the Middle East and we're going to get our fuel from the Middle East. What's that mean? That means we're going to have to pay their prices. We're going to have to pay what they decide they want to charge us for. So is it really helping us? And where do you think this $2 trillion is going to come from? And that's just a start. That isn't yearly maintenance. And remember, with a coal plant or even with a nuclear plant, you've got one stable facility. You've got maybe 5, 6 turbines in there running. That's all the maintenance that has to be performed. But with windmills, you've got right now 54,000 windmills that need to be checked on weekly. They've got to go to them. They've got to check and make sure they were putting out, they make sure they're functioning properly, that the instruction on the blade, that the standings, that the guide wires, that everything that is part of them is still functioning. And that's just the windmills. That's not including the substations. That's not including the power distribution centers. That's not including anything else that's involved into it. And I haven't even included the roads that go between each one of the windmills. Do we want to destroy our land by just putting windmills up everywhere? Anyway, like I say, I just wanted to open your mind up and maybe help you to see some things. See, we need to come together and talk. We need to come together and see what's going on. It's not somebody rushing into politics and saying, I got the answer. I'm going to save your life. That ain't the way it works. We have to think through. We have to look. We have to look at what we've already using. We have to look at what's happening with it. We have to look at the production of it, the maintenance of it, the cost of it, every little bitty piece. But we're not doing that. We're rushing out and telling all of us how they're going to save us and how science has the answer, but yet science doesn't have the answer. They're working on it, just as they always have since the beginning of time. So much peace, much love to all my American brothers and sisters. Much peace, much love to all my brothers and sisters around the world. I hope that we can someday come together in unity to improve these problems that we have. But sometimes the answer is found in your home, not in the government. Y'all have a beautiful day. Thank you.